All right, today I'm going to show you how to find the lateral and surface area of prisms and cylinders. All right, prisms are boxes, tissue boxes, cubes, dice, things like that. So you don't have to have three-dimensional solids at home to be able to, see what they look like. Cylinders are cans, so can of soup, can of soda, anything that's cylindrical has a top and bottom, okay? So today we're going to look at the surface area and the lateral area. So to find surface area, which is your overall goal, you want to know what the formula is in general for all of these solids, because it's better to do that than to memorize every single type of base area that you could have when you're working with this. So surface area is the lateral area plus 2 times your base area. So capital B is base area, okay? And it depends on what your base is to determine what formula you will be using for that. So if it's a triangle, you'll use the triangle formula. If it's a square, you'll use the square formula and, side times side. And if it's a rectangle, you would use length times width. So B is base area. Now lateral area is comprised of knowing your perimeter times the height of the solid. So P is your perimeter of your base, okay? And H is the height of the solid. All right, so I'm going to walk you through this problem and using this, and then I'm going to do 3 more problems after. So the first thing we want to do is we want to establish what our base area is, capital B. And our base here is this right here. It's our square, okay? Typically on a solid that is a rectangular solid, I will use this to be the base because I've got one here and one behind over here, and they're the only 2 that are identical, where the laterals or the sides could be the same length depending in the same area depending on what your base is, or you could have 2 pairs of each of those that are different. So rather than totaling up all those areas and then adding them together, which takes a long time, it's easier to kind of go about, this is your base, you've got one here, one behind, and let's get that area. So this one would be 16 times 16, all right, which is going to give us a base area of 256. And in this case, I think it's feet, so it's feet squared. But we have 2 base areas, all right? So 2 base areas then would be 2 times 256, giving us 512 feet squared, okay? So we've got that. And when you do this, you want to label so you know which numbers are what. Next, what we're going to do is work on lateral area, which we said was comprised of perimeter times the height of your solid. Now your perimeter, you can do off to the side, is the perimeter of your base. So since this is our base, it's going to be 16 plus 16, in this case 16 and 16, or 16 times 4, because this is a square, which is 64, or it's going to be 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16. So if it were a rectangular or a triangular base, then you would be adding those sides. And this would be in feet here, okay? So lateral area is going to be our perimeter of 64 times the height of the solid. The solid is this length right here. This is our height, okay? So times 27, okay? So 64 times 27 is going to give us a lateral area of 1728 feet squared. All right, so lateral area is your side areas, lateral being sides, okay? So if I want my surface area now, easily enough, I take my 2 bases and I add them to my lateral area and I'm done. So again, lateral area plus 2 bases. So my surface area equals to my lateral area of 1728 plus my 2 base areas of 512. And my surface area equals to 2,240 feet squared. And you are done. You have found both your lateral area and you found your surface area. All right, so that's how you would work this for a box, okay, or a rectangular prism. All right, next we're going to look at a triangular prism, meaning that its base is a triangle. So here's our triangle. So I'm just going to take that and draw it out here so we have it a little larger to see. It's 14 inches along its base, and it's 25 along this side, and it's 25 along this side. And the height is given here by the dashed line, and it's 24 inches, okay? So that's your base. All right, I've got one here, I've got one behind here that we can't see. All right, so let's get our base area. Now our base area is triangle is half the base of the triangle, lowercase b, times height, meaning height of the triangle, okay? So you got to keep very focused and label what you're doing so you don't lose pieces or confuse anything. So half of the base of this triangle is 14, its height is 24. Okay, so the base of this triangle is going to be 168 inches squared. But since we have two bases that are triangular, one here and one there, we're going to times that by 2, and we're going to get 336 inches squared. Okay? All right, so now we're going to want to get our lateral area, because remember, surface area equals lateral area plus 2 base areas. All right, so let's get our lateral area then. The lateral area is perimeter of our base, which is our triangle, times the height of the solid. So it's a different height than we had here. So our perimeter is going to be 25 plus 25 plus 14. In this case, we can't multiply much. We have to add these all together, and we're going to get 64. So our lateral area, okay, and that's also inches, is going to be 64 times the height of your solid, which is 45, okay? So the lowercase h's can get confusing, so that's why you want to label this here, focus only on the base area, and then when you get to lateral area, focus on the solid. Okay. So your lateral area, 64 times 45, is 2,880 inches squared. So now our surface area is going to be 2,880 plus the two base areas, which is 336. So our surface area is going to be 3,216 inches squared. And that's our surface area. All right, so that was with a triangular base, a triangular prism. All right. Next, we're going to look at a cylinder. Okay. Again, surface area still is lateral area plus 2 base areas. Now our condition is that our base areas are a circle. So our base is a circle. Okay, so a little circle there. And the base area, the area of a circle, is pi r squared. Well, our diameter is 24. So our radius is 12. So our base area is going to be pi times 12 squared. So our base area for our circle is going to be 144 pi. But we have two. We have one here and we have one on this side. So our base area times 2 is going to be 288 pi inches squared. Okay, and this should have an inches squared also. Okay, now we need to get lateral area. All right, lateral area is going to be our perimeter times height. But in this case, it's a circle, so it's really circumference times height. So all we have to do is think about what we're using and what we have here for our base. Now, circumference off to the side is pi d. Or some people like to do 2 pi r. I prefer pi d only because I can't mess up my 2, my r here, and my 2, my r there. And I know a lot of kids do that. So d is my diameter. So my circumference is 24 pi inches, and I'm done with that. Now again, my h for my lateral area is still the height of my solid. So if I stood this on its base, this is how tall it would be or how high it would go. So my lateral area now is going to be my circumference of 24 pi times 42. All right, so lateral area is going to be 1,008 pi inches squared. All right, and now we can go to our surface area. And our surface area, again, is still our lateral area plus 2 times our base areas, which in this case were circles. So surface area equals, lateral area is 1,008 pi, plus 2 base areas is 288 pi. So surface area totals up to 1,296 pi inches squared. All right, now comes the tricky part, okay? If you're asked to leave it in terms of pi, leave it. And this is why we didn't round here, and we did not round here, and we did not round here. So base area, circumference, and lateral area, we left in terms of pi. So your surface area in terms of pi is 1,296 pi inches squared. However, if you're asked to use 3.14, okay, and I'm going to bring this up a little. If you use 3.14 for pi, your surface area will approximately be 4,069.44 inches squared, round to the nearest hundredth. But if you're asked to then approximate using pi, not rounding it to 3.14, your surface area is going to come out a little bit different, okay? And it might not look like much, but it is different. And it will come out to 4,071.50 inches squared. And this is using pi. So, and the reason for this, that these come out so different, and it's a big change of two units, is because we're rounding pi to 3.14 here. So we're losing accuracy of what pi is, which is, 3.14, and then it goes on. Here we're using that on the calculator, and it will give us a little bit more accurate rounding, right? So just be careful of what you're using or what you're asked to use in your directions if you are asked to round to the nearest hundredth. If it doesn't say to use 3.14, then use pi. If it says use 3.14, then use that, okay? If you're told to leave it in terms of pi, then leave it in terms of pi. So, all right, next we're going to look at our last problem, and it's a right triangular prism. Okay, and you can see that our base here is right here, and we have another base in the back. So I'm going to pull that out here so we can see it a little clearer. And this is our 9 and 12. And if you see, we're going to need our lateral area, which means it's perimeter times height. We're going to need this side. Some of you might recognize that this is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, but if you don't, let's get prepared and get that side. So we'll use Pythagorean theorem. If you don't recognize that it's a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, and this would be 15. All right. If you don't use Pythagorean theorem, 9 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared, because this would be c. And that's 81 plus 144 equals c squared. This is 225. And when you take the square root of both, remember you need a positive negative. However, we're only going to take the positive because it's a length. And so c equals 15. So we can put that on here. All right. All right, so again, surface area is equal to lateral area plus 2 base areas. All right, let's deal with our base areas. Our base areas are right triangles. Half base height, lowercase b, height for this is our triangle. So it's going to be half of our base is 12. The height of our triangle base is 9. And so base area is going to be, it's going to be 54, and that's in inches here. okay, squared. Okay, now we have two of those, one here, one here. Okay, so we're going to have 108 inches squared for our base area. All right, now what we want to do is we want to get our lateral area, which equals to perimeter and height of our solid. But first we need the perimeter. So perimeter equals to 9 plus 12 plus 15, which we found already because we were prepared. And our perimeter is 36 inches. All right, so our lateral area is going to be 36 inches times the height of our solid, which is 16. Okay, and that's going to give us a lateral area of 576 inches squared. So now we can put those together and we can get our surface area. Okay, so our surface area, again, it's lateral area plus 2 times your base areas. Surface area equals our lateral area of 576 plus 2 base areas, which is 108. So our surface area comes out to be 684 inches squared. And there you go. All right, that's how we found our surface area. All right, I hope this was helpful. It is a long process in some cases, so please label, identify everything, and use this as many times to look at and slow it down, pause it as you need to find each of your parts to get your surface area.